guys, I want to talk to you guys today about always keeping yourself in position, okay? Always keeping yourself in position to continue moving forward, to continue to strive, to continue to hear God, to continue to see clearly, to continue to have sharp discernment, to continue to be stronger in the spiritual realm and to be stronger in the physical, to continue to be able to fight these attacks, to have the strength and the courage more spiritually and physically. Here's the thing. People think that, you can be strong in physical and spiritual. You can, but most of the time you're gonna lack strength in one, okay? And here's the thing, most of the times you're lacking a lot more strength in the spiritual, hence why in the physical you're strong enough to fight through the attacks, you're strong enough to get up in the morning, you're strong enough to get stuff done, you may be going to the gym, you may be eating healthy, you're cleaning the house and stuff, but as soon as you hit the bed, you pray. Remember, you pray every day, read the book every day. As soon as you hit the bed, you're being attacked in the spiritual realm. Your dreams are traumatizing. You're seeing all this heaviness. You're feeling the warfare. You may not feel the spells and the magic because you're covered. Here's the sirens. But you're feeling the warfare. You're feeling the attempts. You're getting the headaches. You're getting the nausea. All of that stuff, right? Here's why. Because physically you're strong. That's why you can get up and do stuff throughout that. Physically, you're strong. You're strengthened in the physical, but you're weak in the spirit. You're weak in the spirit because you're more leaning towards flesh. This represents the scale that was shown to me yesterday from God. Well, it was shown to my daughter. She mentioned it, and then God showed it to me today. So God was showing me a scale. So you're not balanced, okay? So let's just say this is the spiritual, and this is the physical. Physically, you're up here, and then your scale is down here for the spiritual. That's why you'll be strong in other areas at night. When you're physical, and then at nighttime, you're weak in the flesh. Weak in the spirit, okay? How you're going to be able to balance that out? Because you got to balance it out so you can be both strong in the physical, strong in the spiritual. See, here's a lie that a lot of New Agers tell people, okay, if you clear your chakras and do chakra healings, that will help you. You can be balanced in both spiritual and physical. You may be balanced for 2 days, 3 days, but then guess what's going to happen? You're going to be all over the place again. You're going to be scattered again. Why? Because you can't strengthen both at the same time. You can't strengthen both spirit and flesh at the same time. See, that's the secret. This is deep. God just showed me this early this morning, and this is very deep. You have to make a sacrifice for one. So you have to either be weak in the spiritual and strengthen your flesh, or be weak in the flesh to strengthen the spirit. You can't have them both balanced at the same time, but you can't balance them, do the work on both at the same time. Okay? You can have them balanced at the same time, but you can't do the work to balance them both at the same time. You have to weaken the flesh, which is your physical. Weaken the flesh. And what I mean by flesh is not just body wise. I'm talking about flesh. Because when you're fasting, it's hard to think about your career when you're fasting. It's hard to think about, drama when you're fasting. It's hard to think about certain things when you're fasting because your main focus right now is I just want to eat and I'm so sick, and you don't have the time to focus on unnecessary things when you're fasting. Because you're tuning into the spirit, you're getting into the spirit, and the most that would probably pop up on your mind is mainly food, right? That's more fleshlight. You may be thinking a lot more about food than anything else. You won't care about, you don't care about nothing else but food and but God. You know what I mean? And there's a reason why, because now you are eliminating every kind of flesh-like thought. Flesh-like thought is also negative thoughts. It's also what you're going to wear tomorrow. Everything flesh-like is being eliminated. That's the sacrifice, okay? On top of that, the body starts getting a little bit weak because it starts to purge all the toxins out of it, right? But now that you're getting stronger in the spirit, here's the analogy God showed me. So if you guys remember the Sims game, right? On the Sims game, there's an energy meter, okay? When the energy meter is at red, what does the sim has to do in the video game? The sim has to sleep and recharge and get the energy to go back up to green, right? It's the same concept with the physical and with the spiritual. In order for your energy bar in the spiritual to get back to green, you have to fast, get in the spirit. You got to start praying, get stronger in the spirit by praying. Because when you fast, you can hear more in the spiritual realm. You can see more. You have stronger discernment in the spiritual realm, where the things that you may have kind of slipped up and did in the spiritual realm, without fasting, you're not going to slip up and do the same things, because now you are stronger in spirit. You have more sharper discernment in the spiritual realm, right? One second, y'all. Yeah, so that's when you fast and you're stronger in spirit, you notice that you can say no to somebody in the spiritual realm. You'll be able to pinpoint who a demon is. You're more sharper in the spiritual realm, because now you're strengthening yourself in spirit. Do you see what I'm saying? You could even be, when you're fasting and you're stronger in spirit, you're so alert in spirit, to the point where you can remember your prayers in spirit. You can pray in spirit. You can pray in tongues in spirit. You're casting away demons in spirit. Okay? Everything is spiritual before it becomes physical. Therefore, you have to be maybe even more stronger in the spiritual realm than in the physical, because everything is spiritual before it becomes physical. When people plot against you, it's spiritual before it becomes physical. Do you get what I'm saying? So what you do now when you fast is you weaken the flesh, like I said, and then you become stronger in the spirit. So now when you're stronger in the spirit, you can fight better in the spirit. Now, when you're done your fasting and you come back into the flesh, okay, you've already spoken to God, your discernment sharp, you're getting all these ideas from God about what to do next, how to succeed in your life, how to have good health. You know who's your enemies now. You know what to be aware of. All of that, because why? Because your spiritual strength is stronger. Now, when your meter in the spiritual realm is green. Now your meter in the physical is red, because you've weakened your spirit. Now when you come back into the flesh, now your fast is done. You break your fast, you start eating again, but you start eating more healthier stuff now, and you're kind of strengthening your spirit again. I mean, your physical again, because remember, you need to strengthen your physical. You got to do fleshly things. It's more fleshly things than spiritual things, because you're strengthening the physical, your arms, your body. You can get up and do stuff. You get what I'm saying? So now you're eating, your meter in the physical realm is green. Like your physical body is green. The energy meter is green now. But guess what? Your energy meter in the spirit is green as well. So now there's a balance. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why God says, it says in the Bible, when you fast, you're doing a spiritual sacrifice when you fast, because you have to sacrifice one to strengthen the other. You can't strengthen both at the exact same time. They can be green at the exact same time, but you got to sacrifice one to strengthen the other. When the other one's strengthened, you go back to the other one, strengthen the other one. Now they're green at the same time. It can't be done at the same time. That's why it's a sacrifice. So what people tend to do is, a lot of people, they do fasting. They fast once. It's like a consistent thing now, where people fast like once a month. They go 2 days without eating once a month. And the reason why is because your meter in the spiritual realm will be green, but it will start going low throughout the month. That's why you'll be okay. A whole week you're good. You're praying. The attacks are not coming in and stuff. And then all of a sudden you're starting to feel the attacks again, because you're getting weaker and weaker and weaker in spirit. Because the more and more you put energy into the flesh, you kind of start not putting as much energy into the spirit. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is why, so even if you're praying in the flesh, you still have to make sure you're praying in the spirit. Sometimes we pray in the flesh, we don't pray in spirit. So we're not balancing it out. So we get weaker in the flesh and we get stronger in the spirit. And then it's kind of like we go to bed and then we're going through the whole thing again. You have to make sure you're strong in the spirit too. This is why people fast. Like I said, they fast like twice a month or once a month, and they do it as a consistent pattern. Some people, they fast once a week. This is why, because every time you fast and you get into the word with God and you weaken the flesh and you get straight into the spirit, you're able to kind of like strengthen the spirit. So before your meter in the spirit is fully at red, let's just say it's halfway and it's still green, but it's halfway, you do another fast, you get in the word, you get in the spirit, you strengthen the spirit and make the meter go back up to like 75%, then you go back into the flesh again. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's how you're able to fight the warfares off in spirit, and that's how you're able to kind of consistently keep the warfares away as well. Okay, it's not for everybody, but that's something that a lot of people do. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because the more and more you guys do this, they're not going to, you have to put yourself in the position, because they're not going to be in the position to take your position if you consistently are ahead of the game, if you're consistently 10 steps ahead of these enemies. Okay, this is why they are obsessed. The more and more and more you are 10 steps ahead and you're like, you know what, I'm going to do a 1 day fast, or I'm going to do a 3-day fast, and you're doing this consistently every month, you keep strengthening your spirit, they cannot walk all over you. They can't do any spell work on you. It's not going to hit you, and it's not going to affect you like it used to. And you're going to be sharper in your discernment because you're 10 steps ahead. Okay. So you have to always stay in position. That's how you stay in position. You know, staying in position means like, you know what you're supposed to do. You know your job. So your job now is to sacrifice your flesh for a certain amount of time, get in the spirit, strengthen your spirit through God, and then come back in the flesh, and then strengthen your flesh back again, and then you're balanced. Because he was showing me the scale yesterday. This morning he showed me the scale, but yesterday my daughter mentioned the scale, and this morning he confirmed with the scale. Okay, because what they want to do is they want to throw you out of position. They want you to be so weak in the spirit. They can try to steal your position, steal your ideas. You're not smart enough in the realm. This is why when they attack you in the spiritual, so it can affect the physical. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why I say you got to always make sure that energy meter in the spiritual is on green and not red. Okay. Or what's going to happen is you're going to go through a heavy warfare, and it's going to affect the physical. Now you're red in both areas. Do you get what I'm saying? You want to avoid that. Okay. Another thing that God was telling me is that, you know, when the enemies think that they're getting away with something, they have a lot of confidence. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, this is the analogy he gave me. Okay. God will make sure that whatever the enemy's plan in your life, it's going to have a role to play in your testimony. Do you see what I'm saying? So always stay in position. They want to take a position, but you have to stay in position. You have to know what you need to do, and et cetera, et cetera. So what he was showing me is that chosen ones, his sheep, we are live. We are live. We are always being recorded. We have a telescope on us. We have a microscope on us. God is watching us very carefully. So if we are being watched very carefully and we are live, then those who mess with us are also being watched very carefully. You have to understand that. You see, a thief will be confident in a store when he's stealing, or he or she's stealing, and they'll be confident, be laughing with people and doing all this because they're confident. Because why? They feel there's no cameras in there, so they're confident enough to steal and to feel like they're getting away with it. And to the point they're so confident, they'll laugh people's faces, they'll do all this fake stuff because they're so confident. Their energy's happy and boosted because this is easy stuff. Right? Until speaking of police officer, I have a message for someone after. Until the police catches them, they can be confident in front of the police, like, oh, I didn't steal nothing, I didn't do nothing, and the police says there was a hidden camera watching you the whole time. And they didn't know there was a hidden camera. What they saw on the ceiling, they thought it was a smoke detector. It was actually a hidden camera. It's the same concept, you know, with you guys. And that's why God says continue to stay in position. Because when you stay in position, it means that you already know what your job is. You already know what God wants you to do. So it's up to you now to stay in position. Stay in position. And what's going to happen is, once you stay in position, everything will be revealed about the enemy, because everything has been recorded. Everything is documented. And I'm not talking about physical law. I'm talking about spiritual law. This is why you got to keep your spirit strengthened in the spiritual, and you got to be in position even in the spiritual, because everything is documented in the spiritual law. You are being recorded, and so is the enemy. Okay? So everything that they have done to you has been documented in spiritual law. Okay, I know it's very deep. I can't really explain it, but I'm gonna just tell y'all that. Okay, I have another video about someone, but I'll talk about another video. But yeah, and I know some of you guys have the question, like, okay, so if I have to do a fast to weaken my flesh to strengthen my spirit, so I can hear more and see more, and I can stay in position, why don't the enemies have to do that? Why do the enemies have access to steal my ideas, or have a lot of access in the realm, and they don't have to go through fasting? Because their sacrifice is totally different from our sacrifice. Our sacrifice is we're doing a spiritual sacrifice. We're sacrificing the flesh in order to be stronger in the physical. That's a sacrifice for God and for us to hear God. Okay, because fleshly things take away from our spiritual gifts to like the foods we eat. We always consistently focus on things that don't even matter, fleshy things like that. When we strengthen ourselves in the spirit, we feed ourselves spiritual food, which strengthens our spirit. Our spiritual food is God. Our spiritual food is prayer. Our spiritual food is fasting, right? Their spiritual food for them to have access to certain things is oaths. Their sacrifice is completely different from our sacrifice. So their sacrifice may be a goat, a chicken, okay, taking an oath with the devil. Their sacrifice is different. That's why they don't have to fast and do all that stuff, but they have access to that. But that type of sacrifice is ungodly, and that's the kind of sacrifice that leads you in the pits, period. Okay, our sacrifice is completely different, right? So this is why it says, people say it's a lot easier to be bad than good, because they get things handed to them being bad by just doing little sacrifices. But the sacrifice they're doing too is, it's not easy, but to them it's easy. Fasting is not easy. Do you see what I'm saying? And you have to remember, they're evil. So the devil's they think the devil's on their side, but the devil's not even on their side. The devil will make you think that he's on your side. But then the devil also wants to see those who are on his side destroyed as well. Do you get what I'm saying? So don't even worry about why they get to see this, why they have more strength. I'm just answering the questions for those who may be thinking that. You have to stay in your position. Just like they know their position, and their position is to do the sacrifice with the goats and all that stuff. Your position is to be 10 steps ahead and to always strengthen your spirit so you can defeat that. Okay? So remember something, guys. I almost forgot this, but the physical needs physical strength, needs physical things to physically strengthen the physical. The spirit, the soul, needs spiritual things to strengthen the spiritual. You can't do both at the same time. You got to sacrifice one to strengthen the other. They can both be balanced at the same time, but one has to be sacrificed to strengthen the other. Okay, and then you come back to the other one and strengthen the other one, because the physical needs physical. Okay, the physical depends on the spiritual. Okay, remember that everything is spiritual before it becomes physical. So the spiritual bar should always be higher than the physical bar. All right, love you guys. Bye.